On this day, every family organization discusses overview. Products or the Noras in Navito. This harvest festival is celebrated by the Mission tribes in their harvest seasons or in the month of the Gati. After the harvesting, they just celebrate this ring to the times for the good harvest. So, the Garbi tribes of the Assam celebrate this festival after the good harvest. Mela and the Maghi Mela. The harvest seasons of the Assam dress for one of the month was the generally falls in the month of the Apriyana. The next month is the Poo or the Push. It is the Mela or the festival are the organizations in the Assam, the area of the lower Assam, whose the popular known is the Push Mela. It is the basically the characteristics, the expressions of the joy after the harvest season. The Maghi Mela is the organized in the month of Magh. It derives is the name from the name of the month. The Bodos celebrate the Gamashi during the Maghi Puja. Puja is the period the festival celebrated by the three tribes of the Assam. It is celebrated to the thank to the Tushu god for the god the harvest. The songs are associated with the day. It is celebrated in the month of the Poo and the Magh. When the Magh is celebrated in Assam, the mid-January, on which day Urpa is celebrated one the day of the Magh, in which the area the Kushan Gan is the popular, the Kushan Gan is the popular, is the Gwalpara. During which the period the Syrian journey for the compost, cyanide for compost between the 18th and the 11th century. How many the burghers were the composed by Bharat 191? Tushu Puja is the object by which the community Tushu Puja is the key tribes. Satra administration of Assam. The Satra administration are established by the Mahapurush and the Sankata Brahmins that disciplines to the spirit the ideologies of the Aksharana. It is the house that devote to many the culture and the religions the activities really either Satratical or the religions Indian lives in the Satra. It is divided into the four the structure but for the Bachelors or the entrances the kittens are to be used as the prayer hall or the Nam Parshanga, the Manikot or inner part or the Hati. The Hati is the section where the recipients of the Satras lie. Sarpada established the first Satra at the Bordua in the 1468 AD, which was the estate as a Namkor. The Satra is used to the community period and Namkor is used to the stage the dramatic performance and other the cultural activities according to the data available with the Assam Satra Mahasabha. At the present, there are a total 862 Satra in Assam and the West Bengal. Still, the Satras have been serving as the integrate the culture, the centers of the society as well as the democratic institution to the solve the various the social issues. The main problem the faced by the Satras is the impersonal amount. It is the land by the Mishra and the Satras of the Assam are divided into four as the Sankhati, which are the demarcated by the rules followed by it. These the Sankhati are followed as Brahma Sankhati, the Auniyati, Laksanipati, and the Garmur, and Kuruvari, Gar Sankhati, Bhawanipur, Kalizar, Puravarar and the Lavadan, Purush Shankati, Samagore, Solpuri, Narawa and the Digoli, Nika Shankati, Borbeta, Kamlabari and the Madhupur and the Sundriyat. Out here, this sutra is situated at Majore historically the sutra was established by the Ahom king Jayadhra in 1575 to 1576 Saka. The deity established at the center is the Govinda Thakur. It is the famous for it is the Balnam Mahashar. Dakshin Pal Satra. This center was established at the Majore Banabali. It is a popular food. It is a last festival organized in the 4th of the day as well as Manda among Europeans. Thousands of the visitors visit the surplus during class. It is situated at the Kamlapari Moza of the Mazali. Belonging to the Burma Sanghati, this is the receipt at the donation of the 30,000 purats of the lands from the arms kings leadership Singha. During the British rule, this the Satraja opposed the foreigners and lost nearly all the fortunes due to it is the firm the stance against the British. Later, the land of the 1,000 Biga was the returned to the Satra. The Pitambur Deva Goswami was it is the famous the Odikar who introduced many reforms, including entry of this the so-called anticipations in the Satra. They founded by the Lakshmikanta Deva, heirs of the canons of the preserved. Purvabahi Satra. It was established by the Malashurikar that on the banks of the river, the Brahmaputra, the Satra enjoy the patronga of the Ahoms. Borpeta Satra of the Kirtan, the most favorite recipients of the Shankar Dam, the established it is the Borpeta. It is one of the most influential Satra in the world. Assam. During the day of the Mother Dams, it was the epicenter of both the religions and the cultural activities in the areas. Mother Dams established the Mathura, Das Burwa, as it is the legal it is the absent. Holi or the Doulas is the most prominent festival celebrated by her with the pomps and the creative homage cannot enter the Kirtan halls of this Satra, Bhadradwar Satra. Sankata was born in the Bhadradwar where it is the established the first Satra. It is situated at the modern Nagam district. It is the believed that the reformers of the great Sun reformer is the still the preserved in the Satra. Holi and the birds and the that anniversary of the birth the Vaishnavi saint and the observed here with the events. Sundriya Satra. Madhava established this Satra in the Kolkata. This Satra to the enjoy royal patronage during the reigns of the latter the Ahoms kings. The ship donated land to this the Satra. It was the center of the Vaishnava religions and the cultural activities. Madhavpur Satra, situated at the coast where West Bengal is the established. It was established by the Srimati Sankata. It is called the Dohmukutatan or the living house of the 10 disciplines of the Vaishnavi nation. The Sankata's lives in the year this Satra was established by the great coast king Narayan's and the Govinda that was it is the first Purnika. Kamlabari Sutra. The founded by the Badula Padma, it is at the center of the art culture, the literature, and the classical studies. Dr. Kamlabari Sutra it is the branch and the Venganati Sutra. Maurideva, the grandson of the Sankardev's mothers, established this sutra. They enjoy the Holy is the prime festival celebrated in Moses Sutra, by whom the Puras, the Sankranti Sutra, were established. Sankranti Sutra is established in the Purushottam Deva, Mobley thread of Assam. The Mobley thread groups of the Assamese, it is known as the Yomanam is in the evening of the professional theatrical practice, which the consists of the collective of actors, singers, dancers, directors, action artists, makeup artists, and the producer. The groups moves from the village to the village, from the village to the towns to cities, and the indicated by the word the Mumbai. The lower part of the Assam was the epicenter of the Sahasra thread parties, the latter the Yatra Dol or the Yatra Party. Took the shapes in the mobile thread, there are the almost 50 thread groups the performance they are given. Whereas all over the across the making mobile thread only popular and the visible due to the COVID-19. In the last 2 years, it is the not stress. Now the mobile thread groups and the stress and the uncertainty futures due to the COVID-19 outbreak. Yatra Dal or the Yatra Party. The concept of the Yatra Party in the Assam was adopted from those the Bengali during the 19th century. Many Yatra parties from the Bengal came to the Assam before the performance. They stressed the rumors adopted from the Purans and other religions texts, taking the inspiration from those the Yatra parties from the organizer of the Assam from the similar units from the dramatic performance, the Tithiram Bayans of the Barbeta and the Zaideva Sharma of the come groups from two jazz parties at the second half of the 19th century. Most of the dramas, the performance at the times were of the members' Bangla language. One such the popular drama party was the Parshala theatre party. The Yatra format where the theatrical performance took the new shapes that after the Praja Sharma entry in the arena. The format the Sil Kalika Opera party. At the stage, the translate various of the Bangla dramas like the Bazirao, the Rana Pratap, later he the Hamda forming the Texan Ganapuri Purapati. Under the Surma the guideline, the first the commercial Ganapati was the forming in Nagam, namely the Assam Kohinoor Open Pate, Opera Pate, Kohinoor Opera Pate, the Sharma for the Khani Sharma and the Sandra Chaudhary his steps. Raja Sharma was the first to introduce the co-acting in the states of Assam. Due to this, the interesting effect the theatre or the opera theatre becomes the more popular in the Assam, and the many knew the theatre the parties were the formed in the pre-independent period. Mobile set. Ashwat Lahakar of Batsala Barpeta from the Nagaras Theatre in the 1963 to 1964 was the first of its kind. The first the producer Nagaras Opera along with his brother then the first format the mobile theatre in the 1963. The theatre party adopted for the dramas the Roxara Zirenkar Shuti Tikendraji and the Hyder Ali of which the dams of three were texts from the history. And the Ashwat also gave the birth to the first mobile theatre in the Assam. He is known as the father of the mobile theatre. Later, his the Natras Theatre adopted the name of the Natras Scene Theatre and started the showing both the moving the theatrical performance on the sun. Instead, the Lagarde successfully led the theatres for the some the years after this successful adventure as the producer. Many the mobile theatre came up the contracting actors, the actress, the musicians, and others. Thus, the effort the girls part to go the good numbers of the mobile theatre parties like the Kohinoor, Awahan, Surjadevi, Sankar, Jayatipwa, and the Mansizuti, Aradhana, Mansurupa, and the Hangul, Mukunda, Devi. This the theatre groups is the format of with the nearly 150 artists and the workers. Many groups have the dissolved due to the financial management, but some theatre groups have been the performing well, the ensuring the regular income for those the involved with it. Jatin Goswami was the first dance the director of the mobile theatre. The Onuboma Bhattacharya was the first female star artist associated with the Natras Theatre. The concept of the mobile theatre is the performing dramas and other the theatrical performances in the different places throughout the year. Nowadays, the theatre the parties the performance for the nearly 9 months, July to April. The adopts the prevention for the dramas and the numbers of the dramas and the rehearsals then they get out for the performance against the payments of the stipulated amount of the money wherever they are the invited thus the artists and all other the involved with the theatre parties have to the shift from one place to other after every 3 or 4 days along with their painters and staff. Mobile theatre have been the playing and the important role in the entertain, entertaining the ruler, the inhabitant of Assam by it is the dramatic performance of the courses. It is the criticized for it is the commercial characters, but still it is and the matches the system of the entertainment for the people living in the rural areas. What is the considered from the ruler of the mobile theatre of Assam? The mobile theatre Yatra Bate, who the individuals who acting in the state of Assam, who acted state of Assam in the Vyasa Sharma, who the former the natural theatre in the first mobile theatre of Assam, Ashwat Lahakar, who the former the Sir Kalika Opera Party, Vyasa Sharma, in whose the year the first mobile theatre was formed in Assam. Mobile theatre known as 1963, where the first commercial Yatra Party was the form in Assam. The Yatra Party formed in Assam in Borpeta, who was the first dance director of the mobile thread. The mobile thread, Satin Goswami, the Onupama Bhattacharya was the informed the who is the drama groups, Natras. Various festival fair and the dance of Assam. The Assam is one of the best example of the unity among the diversity peoples who belong to the different ethnicities and the religions live here in the harmony and the celebrate their respectively festival without any the entrance. As the festivals celebrated in the Assam are the basically religion, social and the agro-based. Some of such the festival are the discussed in the following. Modern Bihu. The modern community celebrate the Bahag Bihu after 7 days of Bahag. They celebrate the Bihu laterally to the commemorated their kings, the Ramkanto, who was killed by the Ahom Queen Gyani Ali Ailika. Ali Ailika is the agro-based festival celebrated in the missing tribes of Assam. This is celebrated on the first witness day of Agun. The missing considered it as the most observation day to the sellings in the field. This festival lasts for 5 days. And then in this the days the we are dressing the warning tones and the dance the Umarak in the rhymes of the Dhol, Pepa, Lagna and others. The fest is the organized and the celebrated with the Apam, Qurans and so on. In the month of Bahag, the first month of the Assamese calendar, Deol is the celebrated in the various parts of Assam, mainly in Durham district. The festivals is the organized to worship Lord Vishnu to the gift the inhabitant of the localities have in the coming years. The people offer their the offerings along with the eastern slum near the rise hip of the art called Dio. The generally the fair is also the organized along with the festival. Really Utsav. It is the generally celebrated in the lower part of the Assam in the Bohag month. The people the organize the totally by the placing two bamboo side or by side. The bamboos are the called baro. The longer bamboo is the called the thora and the shorter one is the called kohina. The small house of the banana lives in the mat near the bamboos. On the days of the festival, people gather under the bamboos and they enjoy the day. In the evening, the small house is the desperate and the bamboos are the uprooted to make the in the festival. Bash, Bia or Puja. It is celebrated by the Hazon and the Rajbongshi of the Gwalpara district. Here, three bamboos are the rises and the worshipped following the certain ritual. Only the male members of the society and the participant in this festival. দৈবকী was that it signed later the Krishna was taken to the house of the Nandan and the Yashoda within the night Vishwakarma Puja. It is as an elected 17 September of the every year. This festival also marks the maintenance of the machines and the machinery parts. It is a generally observed in the month of the Ani. With the latest 3 days long on the days of the Sasti. Welcome and the worship for the next 3 days. On the Vijaya Dashami, or the 10th days, Devi Durga is the marriage in the regard. This festival is the organized with the monks and the grand day all over Assam. Is the belief that the duty protects the poor by the dominating the event. On the last day of the puja, the Shira is the observed all over India. Lakshmi Puja is the observed on the 4th Monday after the conclusions of the puja on this day before the great goddess Lakshmi for the happiness and the health. Well, it is the object in the West Bengal also. Kali Puja and Gauri. It is the 2 days the festival. On the first day, the goddess Kali is the required offering to the sacrifice. On the second day, the Diwali or the Diwali is celebrated to the mark of the festival of light. There are many the beliefs that regarding this festival. Some the beliefs that on the day of the Diwali, Lord Ram ritual to the Ayodhya after the killing Ravan and the people of Wahab by the illuminating the city with the light. Another student described that one on the previous day of the Diwali, Lord Vishnu killed Markashur and the towards kings who the road in Assam after the carrying the news of the Narakas killing people the after their monks to pay the protect to the Lord Vishnu Maho. One of the foremost of the great among the Naman. Service sector. India is a service sector has not outperformance address supports of the Indian economy. But has also the play and the important role in the Indian contributions to the world trade and the capital market. India's the liberalizations of the service has been in the challenging process in the several subsectors, but clearly those the service where the introductions through the trade and the FDI has got the panel also the ones have the exhibited for the rapid growth with the positive supports from the rest of economy. There is the however concerned about the sustainability of the service-led growth. The process will be largely seen from the export of the skill by the service. mentioned the reward and the implement the oriented work with the backward and the forward the linkage to the rest of the economy increase the regard the infrastructure and the regulatory reform and the FDI liberations in the service and the other diverse way the source of the growth within the Indian service sector and provide and require the momentum the service in 2020. In the recent year, the year has been developed in the country regarding the selections of the sector whose come the lead the growth process in the country. This divide or continent from the fact that the service sector contributed over the 62% in the GDP during the data debate of the somewhat reduced the economic potential in the favor of the manufacturing sector. The service has gone to the point with several the empirical studies of the recent times links both the service and the manufacturing sector to either create many the real issue the potential to the create the implement of the skill and the unskilled labor forces the formality and the informality of this sector extra for this the idea of the Make in India has the economic times the action from the government again the importance of the expanding the railways and enhancing public investment in it is the have the also been the pointed out. These the findings are also in the line with the several other the studies of this the recent times. Performance overview. The contract-intensive service sector was severely impacted, particularly subsectors such as the museums, aviations, and the hospitality due to the lockdowns measured in the work of the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020. The brief overviews is the giving below for the 2020 to 2021 April September in the comparison to the corresponding period of the previous year. A contraction of the 16% made by the subsector, particularly that hotels, transport, communication, and the service related to the broadcasting was the contract by the 31.5%. Gross value added (CVA) of the sector is estimated to have had a negative growth rate of the 8.8% in 2020-2021 against 5.5% in the 2019-20. Subsector and the hotels, transport, communication, and the broadcasting service, the financial, real estate, and the corporational service and the public administration, defense, and other service are the estimate to the contract by 21.41%, 3.68%, and 0.82% respectively. Rail freight traffic through the was divided to the minus 35.3% in the April 2020 before the recent election. The domestic air traffic, however, the 50.93% were in the November 2020 as the compared to the November 2019. The bank trip growth to 4.854% a year ago. The ISS Market Indian Service Business Activity Index, also known as the Service Purchasing Managed the Index PMI, was at the 85-month high on the 57.5 in the February 2020, fell to it is the lowest level of the 5.4 in the April 2020. As the mobile the restrictions were the lifted and the business that resumed the service PMI requirement sharply to the 4.1 in October 2020. The index softened to the 52.3 in the December 2020. Although the economic among the 50 years in the expansion service in the states, the sector accounts for more than the 50% of the GSPN gross asset value added in 15 out of the 33 states, and it is in the 8 states in the account from more than 60% of the GSPA. The syndicates in Delhi stand out with a particularly high share of the service in the GSPA of over the 85%, while the second share remained the lowest at the 27.02%. It must be noted that even the state with the relatively lower share of the service in GSPA, such as Tripura, Uttarakhand, Andhra Pradesh, Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, Jharkhand, Odisha, and the Arunachal Pradesh, have the witnessed strong service sector growth in the recent year. FDI the inflow. India is today the world's ninth largest foreign direct investment. FDI the recipient as the for the latest world investment report of the NCTAT evidence improvement from the last report. Interesting that despite the COVID-19 pandemic service, the US as the largest recipient of the gross FDI, the equality including reinvestment earnings, the witnessing the strong growth during 2020-21 April September. The recessing to the US dollar 23.91 billion, showing the 34% growth over the previous rather accounted for the almost 40 of the total gross FDI equity inflow into India during this period. The jump in the FDI equity the inflow was driven by strong inflow into the computer software and the hardware subsector, while the FDI the inflow increasing to the US dollar 7.55 billion over the 336% higher over the corresponding period the last year. High growth in the FDI inflow was also present in the subsectors such as the retail, trading, agriculture service, and the education service trade. World trade and the global supply the sand were severely impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020, while the WTO, the World Trade Organization project, the global merchandise trade volumes the growth to the fall by the 9.2% in 2020. The IMF expect volumes of the global trade in goods and the service to the contract by the 10.4% in 2020. WHO, World Trade Organization Service the Trade Activities Index, the indicate the decline in the global trade in the commercial service of the 4.3% in the past 3 months of 2020. Indian trade in the service rate also got hit hard by the pandemic, throwing the mix. The performance during 2020-2021 April September, Indian has a significant 57 in the service sector export. Remain the amongst the top 10 trading countries in the commercial service in 2019, accounting for 3.5% of the world service export, notwithstanding the setback witnessed in the wake of the pandemic. Indian service sector remains the resilient one compared to the merchandise trade. The sector provided a steady follow on the current recipient the event from action from the few adversary affected net service export received that amount to US $41.67 billion in 2020-21 as compared to the US $40.47 billion a year ago. The service export growth the moderate to the 2.5% in 2019-24 from 6.6% in 2018-19 as the receipt primarily on account of the transporting the insurance and the communication service with the contraction in the global demand and the implementation of the pandemic induced the lockdowns measure. The service export declined by the 7.87% in 2020-21 as the against the growth of the 6.39% in the corresponding period of the previous year. Among other the major sector, the business service export recorded a growth of the 2.48% in the S1 of 2020-21. With the significant drops in the foreign tourist arrivals owing to the mobility restriction imposed worldwide, the trade recipient witnessed a decline of 73.49% in 2020-21 as the growth of the 8.21% in the corresponding period of the previous year. The service improved that exhibited a sharper decline of the 13.95% in 2020-21. The composure with the service export among the major the sector, the payments of the overseas travels fell by the 55.09% due to the restriction of the outbound travels from the Indian payments code. The transport service, the accounting for over the 16% share in the total service import. The recorded data decline of the 25.9% in 2020-21 payments for the import of the business service which accounted for the 43.41% of the total service import. The increase by the 4.22% in the year. Sharper decline in the service import over the export led to the increase in the net service received by the 2.1% in 2020-21. The average zones over the previous year, the sharp contraction in the merchandise trade deficit and the stable net service, the recipient led to the current accounted the surplus of the 3.9% of GDP in 2020-21 April June. The data on the Indian state in the service in the 2020-21 July September was the showing sign of the revival with export increasing by 8.4% quarters non-quarter QOQ and the import the increasing by the 30.2% QOQ, the resulting in the improvement of the 2.3% QOQ in the net service export as projected by the Gartner October 2020. Although the global IT spending is expected to the decline by the 5.4% in 2020, it would rebound with the onset of the recovery phase in 2021, even through the projections of the world trade volumes of the goods and services are the optimistic for 2021 durations and the continuation of the pandemic and the effectiveness of the government policy response to the revive and the economy would become a factor in the shaping Indians the service state. Sectoral situation, the lockdown and the social the lockdown and the social disruption measured the attack in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic proved an heavy pull on the performance of the service sector, whose had a negative growth rate of the 16% in the first half of the 2021. The belief account of the sectoral performance in the given below. Full James. Horizon is the measure the engines of the economic growth that contribute significant in the term of GDP. 5% the foreign exchange earnings and the employment, and 11%. However, the COVID-19 pandemic has had a devastating impact on the world travel and tourism, including Indian as per the World Tourism Barometer of the United Nations World Tourism Organization December 2020. Recent international arrivals fell by 72% globally over the first 10 months of 2020 was the worst year on the recorded in the history of the tourists. And the belief accounts of the tourists is at the given below. In order to the aggregate Indians, the center elaborate after the breakout of the COVID-19 pandemic and the resultant lockdown across the world. The Vande Bharat mission was launched in the early May. Under this, the mission which is the currently is the 9 the government establishment transport bless the countries to the recipient. It is the citizens by the January 2021 Indian had air published with the 24 countries. Transport published on the air travel. The argument, the temporary agreement, temporary arrangement between the two countries and the restricting commercial passenger service when the regular international flight are the suspend as a result of the pandemic rules are the reciprocal in the national meanings. The airlines from both the countries and the similar benefit. The tourism sector in India have been the performing well with the FTS, the foreign tourism levels. Thank you so much.